you hate the thought of working past 55 or 60? Do you hate not being able to live the life you deserve today? Do you hate not knowing what your financial future looks like? It's time to stop doing what you hate. Here's your host, Mr. Harold Green.
Hello, everybody. This is Harold Green of Bright Tree Wealth Management. It is time to stop doing what you hate. I hope you are having a fantastic day today. I'm doing pretty good. And there's been a lot of stuff on my mind lately, and I've just kind of been taking my time and having to calm down and just kind of think through a lot of things. And I used to go to a Bible study for businessmen a long time ago. Early in the morning, we'd get out there, get our coffee, and we would meet at Kakako Park in Hawaii. I mean, he had people from all walks of life doing business. And it was very interesting. And we had this naval officer. His name was Matt. I forgot his last name, but his name was Matt. Matt was smart. And Matt got out of the Navy, went on to Harvard, became like this hedge fund guy. And I think he's in California or something like that. Last I heard, doing well. But he said, one of the hardest things for man to do, and I don't know where he got this from, but is to sit down and think and to spend time in quiet solitude, just thinking, sitting there with your thoughts and just kind of running through them and then thinking about different perspectives and different things like that. And I've had to do that quite a bit, over the last couple of years, because success is going to demand that. Success demands attention to details. It demands you just kind of like putting in the work. And so I've been doing a lot of shows and things like that. We've been working really hard. And I kind of want to talk about something today that is plaguing a lot of people. And before I thought that, why am I having these silly arguments with people about their investment portfolios or their strategies, or why are we having these silly conversations? I call them silly because to me, it was more emotional responses, or my friend said this, or these people said that. And I was always battling these things. And I was kind of like, what is this? What is this? And after all these years of doing what I've been doing, it finally hit me this morning. And it's the reason why I created the Rapid Retire Financial Planning process, because it solves this one problem. And the title of today's show is The Growth Safety Paradox: Why Playing It Safe Quietly Steals Your Time. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's get it. All right. And bear with me on this, because it's going to be interesting. I'm going to start with this. Most people don't fail to retire early because they took too much risk. Most people fail to retire early because they avoid the kind of risk that actually shortens their working life. And the growth safety paradox isn't a market problem. It's an identity and structure problem. And you can't accelerate freedom while designing your portfolio for emotional comfort. And this is the paradox that plagues so many people. And if I use your story as an example, it's not a slight to you or anything like that, or I say something that's similar to a situation that you might be in, it's not a slight to you or anything like that. It's just where people are right now, okay? And I used to get this a lot. The Bible calls it being double-minded and unstable in all your ways, right? And it says, let not the double-minded person think that they're going to get anything that they ask for, because they are because they're double-minded, right? And it makes you unstable in all your ways, not like one or two of your ways, but it just causes chaos. And I would hear people say stuff like, I want to pay off my house early, or I want to be able to travel, or I want to be able to buy this car, or I want to be able to remodel, or I want to be able to get out of work early, or I would hear all these things. But what they were doing, it was more of them sharing with me like what their hopes and dreams were, like their wishes. And it was just kind of like, well, I wish I could go to France, and it's like people just kind of like sharing with you what's in their mind. It's not really serious about it. I mean, I used to take this stuff so serious. I'd be like, okay, You want to go spend a month in France? Okay, let's go. Here's how we do it. We got to take this risk and take that risk. And then as soon as we get started, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, that's too risky. My portfolio is going down. Wow, this is scary. It's like, what about France? I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I'll go to Ohio or something. Sorry. For real. And growth in your portfolio, it requires uncertainty. You can't have one without the other. And safety demands predictability, but the rapid requires accepting one to achieve the other. And if your portfolio is optimized for stability, man, your career becomes the shock absorber. Now, I'm not saying like everybody has to retire early. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this: you have to get yourself in a position where you are no longer financially dependent upon your career, because your career is not your career. Your career belongs to the company. The company owns your job. You don't own your job. And I think a lot of people have got it twisted. Like, this is my job, right? Like, how dare they take my job away from me? You didn't create the job, someone else did. So you are under their quote unquote kingdom. Okay. And the only way you're going to get out of their kingdom is to create your own. But a lot of people are afraid to create their own kingdom or their own ability to make money because it is scary. And here's the thing: fear is not irrational, it's just misdirected. And loss aversion, it magnifies short term pain. Very simple. The media exaggerates rare disasters. And investors confuse volatility with failure. And here's the key truth: the market doesn't ruin retirement plans, overreactions do. And I'm on this thing, I'm going to be on it for a while because I think a lot of people need to hear this. And if you're listening to this, even if you're not a client, I just want you to share it with somebody else that you know, because you're going to need to hear different things. You're going to need to hear different insights, okay, than just the standard stuff. All right. And here, okay, I'm going to talk about some hidden killers here. Number one, inflation extending the finish line. I call that moving goalpost. Inflation will continue to move the goalpost. Now, by the time you hear the show, I have no idea what inflation is going to be like, but we're going to be getting a lot of prints out over the next several months that should have a downward trajectory. Okay. Conservative returns require massive capital. And we're going to get into a couple of case studies here in a second. If you're going to go conservative, you need massive amounts of money. And here's another hidden killer: underestimating how long retirement lasts. The longer you work, the more risk you're actually taking with your health, your energy, and your time. No, this is with a caveat. This is if your job is taxing. If you're a nurse, ER doc, or like any kind of like heavy physical labor job, you're on your feet all the time, you're on the go all the time, or you're in a high pressure job that's mentally draining you, but it pays well, you're literally damaging your life for the future the longer you stay, what they call it, at 100. Okay. I believe that sometimes you can be at 100, sometimes you got to break it down to 50, sometimes you got to slow down to 0 and just stop for a while. Like, take your breaks, take your vacations, and things like that. Now, I want to talk about a case study. I want to talk about a safety investor versus a rapid retire investor. And here's the profile. Same starting point. Both age 40. They both have $750,000 in savings, and they're both contributing $40,000 a year to their accounts. And the goal is to retire ASAP without lifestyle collapse. Very important. So we're going to talk about investor A, the safety first investor. Here's what their portfolio looks like. Okay. It's heavy bonds, cash, low volatility funds. The expected return is 4 to 5% a year. And here's the behavior profile. They rarely panic because of it. They rarely experience drawdowns because of it. And they rarely experience real acceleration because of it. But here's the outcome. This person needs 2.5 million to 3 million to retire based on how they're set up. And the retirement age is 62 to 65. The outcome feels responsible, but it's slow. Okay. Now, compare this to or contrast this against the rapid retire investor. Here's the portfolio. It's time segmented. Very important. It's aggressive for long term money. And there's liquidity buffers for quote unquote emotional control and stability. And the expected return is between 7 and 20% a year with long term volatility. And because this is an investment show, all investments do carry a risk of loss. Past performance is no indicator of future results. You have to do your due diligence, understand risk scores, time horizons, and make sure you're investing according to a well-balanced, comprehensive financial plan. Okay. But here's the outcome of that. They're going to hit critical mass faster. The retirement age is between 52 and 55. They're going to experience drawdowns, but they don't exit. They don't get out the bus. And one of the things I talk to my clients about this, we talk about this all the time. Drawdowns are a part of it because there's volatility. Okay. We got capital invested. Drawdowns are part of it. The question is how fast can we recover from a drawdown of maybe 10, 15, 20%? How fast can we get that money back? And once the client has a history of being with me over several years and periods of times, they understand that the way we are driving this bus, it's extremely aggressive at times, and at other times it is not. But here's the key takeaway. The rapid retire investor didn't take more risk. They took risk earlier when it mattered the most. And boy, this is very important. It's extremely important. People talk about how crazy Trump is. Yeah, they say people tell me this stuff all the time. Okay. And they said, he creates a lot of chaos and there's a lot of volatility. And I said, volatility is how real investors make money off the stock market is because of volatility. Without the volatility, you won't make as much, right? Your portfolios won't go down as much, but you won't make as much either. And this is with the assumption that your stock, whatever you're investing in, is going to slowly creep up over a long period of time with no dips, no major drawdowns. It's just going to go straight up slowly to the right. That does not happen. And that's why active money management matters. It's very important because it's when to get in and how big to go at it, right? So during COVID, we went hard after everybody, their hair was on fire and everything melted. We went hard. We went to cash and then we let everything settle down for a little bit. And then we looked around, said, wow, look at all this gold in the streets, man. Let's go get our Brinks truck and come load up. Gold everywhere. But everybody was somewhere hiding, right? People were scared. They didn't know what was going on, right? Nobody had any faith. It was just like, it's done. Nobody knew what to do. And those were the times where we accelerated portfolios to the moon because we took the risk when it mattered most. Now I want to go to the case study number 2, the cost of one bad decision. And the market drops 25%. We got 2 investors with identical portfolios. Okay. Investor A reacts emotionally, sell to protect what's left. They miss the recovery and they re-enter after confidence returns to the marketplace. Here's the damage. Permanent loss of compounding. The portfolio never catches up. They're behind. Investor B uses the rapid retire structure. Liquidity covers spending needs. We got you, bro. We got you, man. Rebalancing forces buying during weakness, and no emotional decision is required. Here's the key takeaway. Volatility didn't hurt the first investor. Their response did. Now I want to get into case study number 3, the feels safe trap. And here's this investor's mindset. I don't need aggressive growth. I just don't want to lose. Well, the reality is conservative portfolios require higher savings and longer career and lower margin for error. I'm going to be honest with you. This is where I started in my financial planning career or my investment management or insurance or whatever. I introduced the bank on yourself concept back in '08 when everything was falling apart in Hawaii. And everybody wanted out of the stock market. Like everybody wanted out. They wanted something conservative. So we created the bank on yourself program and we brought it. Well, actually, I didn't create it, but we brought it to Hawaii. Okay. It was an insurance system, very conservative. It taught you how to save your money, buy your cars, and pay yourself back the interest. And it was a really neat program. Okay. But it was designed for the people who just didn't want the risk anymore. But here's what happened. We got into it and the premiums were 50, 60, 70,000 a year. At the time they could afford it. But then after the market recovered, they're like, yo, why am I still doing this? Why am I still in this thing? The market is on fire. Why are we doing this, Harold? And cashing out the policies, cashing in annuities and putting it back in the market. And I told my wife, I said, I'm like sick of this. Like I'm sick of this paradox, right? I didn't call it a paradox at the time. And that's when I went into the investment world. And that's when we decided to create the rapid retire financial planning process and then merge all of these systems together to what we have today. And here's the deal with the rapid retire. Choosing safety isn't neutral. It's a decision to work longer for a lot of people. Okay. Because they don't want to take the risk. And that, you know what? And that's okay. But you're going to have to understand how if you're in one of these high pressure, high stress jobs, your thought process should be, okay, how do I get to a place of financial security ASAP? Okay. Now, I want to talk about the portfolio architect of our rapid system and how the system removes fear from execution. I ain't scared. You probably watch movies where, it just, I don't know, it's just a phrase that I used to hear growing up all the time when somebody like wanted to pick a fight with somebody and you're like, I ain't scared. Like, I ain't scared. Let's go. I ain't scared. Like, that's what I think of when I hear this. And, when you look at removing fear from a system, here's how it works. We have time-based buckets. Now that's liquidity and stability. Soon, moderate growth. Later, aggressive growth. And this is for the person that's retired, not the person that's still in accumulation phase. We switch to the three bucket system when you're in the decumulation phase. All right. When you're spending down money. B, liquidity equals behavioral armor. It protects you from forced selling, turns drawdowns into non-events. We call it speed bumps versus roadblocks. We want speed bumps versus roadblocks. C, rebalancing equal discipline automation. Volatility becomes opportunity. Decisions happen without emotion. Again, I ain't scared. Okay. It takes that fear away. And rapid doesn't make you brave, right? It makes bravery unnecessary, right? Because you're calculating. You're not bravely running into a fire trying to like save everybody. We don't do that. We don't foolishly run headlong into super risky situations to try to like make people retire fast. That's not what this is. As they say, this ain't that. Okay. I want to talk about the investor identity shift because this is important. And it's why people sabotage good plans. All right. They want the rapid results, but they identify as conservative investors. And the rapid identity is you're not aggressive or conservative. You are goal aligned. And that's why we use e-money. And that's why we make everybody put their goals into the system because we're investing according to their goals. We're not investing according to, the hottest theme right now. That's irrelevant. And your portfolio should reflect your destination, not your fears, right? And it's like, what y'all doing, man? Like, you say you want to go here, but you're scared. And that's not necessary. And people are afraid because of what they don't know. They fear the unknown. And I want to talk about how you can escape the growth safety paradox. There's 3 rules for this, and it's real simple. Volatility is normal. It's not dangerous. It's only dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. I'll give you an example. Me and my wife were driving the other day. Okay, we were coming back from IKEA. I think we were coming back from IKEA, or lunch or somewhere, something in the IKEA area here in Vegas. And we saw some bikers on the bikes, the super fast sport bikes, right? The rockets. And they're just on the side of the road. And my wife's like, "Oh, what's wrong with them?" So one was on the far left-hand side of the freeway. The others were on the right-hand side of the freeway. I kid you not, within like 3 minutes, these guys were going by us at least 170 miles an hour. And they were riding through cars at 170 miles an hour. Okay. They passed me like I was standing still. It was insane. And their bikes were super loud. And then I told my wife, I said, they're going to F around and find out eventually. They're going to keep playing these stupid games and they're going to win some stupid prizes because riding through cars at 170 miles an hour ain't that smart. Now that is dangerous. Okay. To them, no big deal because they do it all the time, right? They're used to it. They know how to handle it. To them, it's not dangerous because they know what they're doing. Now, would I do it? No, I wouldn't. Structure beats emotion. Progress is measured in years reclaimed, not quarterly returns. I'm not trying to fight a quarter of S&P up more than me, or Dow up more than me, or NASDAQ up more than me, or a theme up more than me, like say, what you call that, consumer discretionary. Okay, it's beating me. Okay, oh man, I got to go hide because I'm behind consumer discretionary. I measure my return in years. Like, how did I do over the last 3 years compared to everything else? I'm up 200%. What is everything else up? 20. Oh, what? That's what it is. And here's the rapid mantra. We don't eliminate risk. We decide which risks are worth taking. And the hard part for me about this is our job is to not be wrong. Okay. Our job is to not be wrong because if we get it wrong, a lot of people get hurt. And that's why we have to look at the risk. We have to calculate the risk. We have to look at the potential returns. And we have to understand the tailwinds or the headwinds, or more, I would say that the tailwinds that would help us get to where we're going. And then also understand the headwinds when a position is faltering, when it's spinning its wheels, when to rotate. We're not afraid. We might be down 15 to 20% in an option. And we look at it and we look at the headwinds and we say, this is not worth taking anymore. I used to think that clients were like, you just bought this thing. I thought you guys knew what you were doing. And now you're selling it like a month later. Like, why don't you wait? There's a lot of data that we have that people don't have. And, we look at other positions that we can be in. Some things will spring up and pop up on the horizon and they may not be visible to like the market itself, but you start to see these little seeds germinating. You're like, whoa, these little sprouts, these little shoots, like, yo, what's that? I walked by the same path yesterday. I didn't see that. Like, whoa. And then something sparks in you and then boom, we got to get there. We have to move. Okay. And here's the truth. And this is the last thing I want to say about it. There is no early freedom without growth. And there's no growth without discomfort. And there's no safety without planning. Here's the final thing I really want to say. The goal isn't to feel safe this year. The goal is to be free for decades. Okay? It's not to feel safe this year, but to be free for decades. And if this aligns with your thinking, or if you want to get on this bus heading in the direction of potential financial freedom, you got to reach out, right? I can't go to every house in America and beat on your door and say, hey, there's a system called Rapid Retire. It'll help you do this. It'll help you do that. That's why I'm sitting here in front of this microphone talking to y'all right now. Okay? I'm not saying you have to quit your job when you become financially secure. I'm just saying it should be an option in your life. And if you want this option in your life, just reach out. Go on the website, request an appointment with me or a time to talk to me, or just request information and then Beverly will send you everything you need to listen to or do in order to get on the schedule, and then see if this makes sense to you. So thank you for letting me share with you this growth safety paradox show today. And until next time, everybody, 1, 2, 3, let's get it.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.